Manchester United need to be brutal this summer. We're hearing about the incomings, but what about the outgoings? Tonight, Brian Brigade, we sort the lot. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It is Monday, start of the week. No football again for Manchester United. We're waiting 7 days. It feels like a month. But tonight is a good opportunity for us, my hair's a mess, to go through the current squad, youth players and all, and see where it is we see this Manchester United squad in the summer. We know there's an overhaul coming. We know it. It might not be the overhaul we all think is going to happen, but it is coming whether we like it or we lump it. So I want to go through that tonight. If you're watching this back on playback, make sure you get in the comments. There may be things you agree with. There may be things you disagree with. I want this to be as interactive as possible. Now, earlier on today, I did upload a video. Where are we? And it was this one, Odegaard to United. Now, this dropped earlier on today. I'm not going to give it much talk on this channel, but go ahead and look at the video. I think you'll be very interested to see what the thoughts were there, and it'd be interesting to see what you think about it as well. But I hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and we are going to get straight into this. No waiting around, no fucking about. This is our squad that we see in the summer. Before we do so, make sure you like and subscribe if you are new, and also smash that like and share it to your friends. Big shout out to Lawrence, who says, Happy Lunar Year. Brian Brigade, I predict a red year of the horse ahead, and I don't mean chairman. Good evening, Wahaha. Good to see you. He says, flap the like of and fub if you're enjoying the foe. It helpeth the channel out a lot. I thought I did very well there. Evening, Chappie. Good to see you, mate. Anthony says, good evening, everybody. Hope you are well. Carl is in the house. Hope you are doing well. And so is Jamie. Right then, guys, let's get this up on the screen because there is a lot we're going to talk about with this. And I want this to be as inclusive as possible. So let me just adjust it. And there we go. So there we have keep, we have unsure, we have loan, and we have sell. And we have a lot of players to go through tonight. So it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a mad one. And I want you guys to be as interactive as you can. I'm going to give you my spin on it. Get your comments in below if you agree. Also get your comments in about certain players as well, because I think this is going to be an interesting show. Now, the first person is Brian Mbeumo. And look, there is no chance that we need to discuss anything about this player other than he is part of the future of Manchester United. He has been a big part of what we have been trying to achieve this season. He's had a massive impact. To even think about him in a conversation about keeps, unsure, loan and sell would be ridiculous. So he goes straight into keep, okay? He is there. He is not moving anywhere. Now, the next person is Matthias de Ligt. Matthias de Ligt. Now, we've been talking about Harry Maguire leaving the club, and we'll come on to H in a bit. But when I think about de Ligt and I think about what he's done at the club so far, I have to say I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned as to his injury record. I'm not concerned to his attributes and what he brings to the team. But what I am concerned about is, do we get a full season out of this centre-back? Now, in my eyes, if it was a case of we could go out there and sell him and get 30, 40, 50 million for him and look at reinvesting it into another defender, I would be happy to let him go. But unfortunately, Manchester United, when we look at what the squad is going to look like next season, centre-backs is not someone that I think Manchester United should be focusing their attention on. And for that matter, let me have a look. We've got a lot of you saying keep. Jamie says sell. Wahaha says not sure. He's injured hell of a lot. Carl says keep. Anthony says de Ligt is fantastic, but we can see how much we miss him. So if we need players ready, if he gets injured again, I think with de Ligt at the moment, for what we're doing at the moment, I think de Ligt has to be a part of the staying squad. He has to be in that keep. If we can manage his injuries, the only worry again is that if you look at next season with all of the football we're going to be playing, can you expect and can you trust that de Ligt will be able to play week in, week out, midweek games, cup games? I'm not so certain, but he is one, I think, at the moment, just for the state of the club, I think we have to keep. Subra, good to see you, mate. He says keep as well. The next one, Matthias Cunha. Now, again, this one, he has just got here There isn't a conversation to be had for this. I think he's had a decent start. I don't think he's lit the world up. I don't think we are seeing the best of Cunha, but I think we've seen flashes. And I think with a more settled midfield behind him and a settled defence I'm talking on the fullback side, I think you see a better Cunha. So I think that's the easiest keep as well. I'm happy to say keep. Steve-O says keep as well, and Chappie does. Now, the next one we are going to talk about is Diogo Dalot. And this one here, this man here, I think this is going to divide. I think it's going to divide because could you put him in keep? He's had a couple of decent performances under Carrick. Is he unsure? Would you loan him out or would you sell him? I've been quite consistent in my thoughts about Diogo Dalot. I've been quite consistent. And for me, I've got to be honest with you, like boys to men, we are at the end of the road. I would absolutely be saying that Dalot is in the sell bracket for me. I think Diogo Dalot has had ample opportunity at this club. Yes, he's had a few good games for Manchester United under Carrick. Against West Ham, though, up against a player with a lot of trickery, I thought he was awful. I don't see there being a consistent season from this man. I don't see this guy being the man that we can trust to be the right back that overlaps but gets back. Positionally, he does go wandering in some games. You have to ask yourself the question. With Michael Carrick coming in and there being this manager bounce, is this just a scenario where we are looking at a player who is giving that extra? He's giving that extra for the team. I don't think this man has a future at Manchester United. I would be remiss if I was to say that I was happy to keep him. So for me, for that reason, I think Diogo Dalot is a sell. I think he's a sell. Carl says sell, not consistent enough. Steve says Dalot to go, not seen enough. Wahaha wants to keep him. Anthony says Dalot needs to be replaced, not just sold. Jamie says I'd sell Dalot. Steve says I won't miss his throw-in. And Subra says keeper's third choice maybe. Wahaha says we need a player who makes the players give extra every single game anyway. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a sell for me. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I've not seen enough over his time here at Manchester United. Let's not forget, he's one of the longest-serving players now at Manchester United, signed under Jose Mourinho. I think his time is up. And I think he's gone. The next player is Dorgu. Now, Dorgu, if you'd have asked me about Dorgu at the start of this season, with Amorim still in charge, playing at that left wing-back role, I would have put Dorgu in the loan section. I think Dorgu had a very indifferent start to this season. He had a decent pre-season, but I think defensively, he looks awful. He flies about. I think his positional awareness isn't great. He's not great at sticking with the block there. And also when the team is trying to progress up the pitch in that left wing back role or that left back role with a 4, I think he goes missing. However, when you look at the difference in the player moving into a further advanced position in the team, going into that attacking role, he brings chaos. He brings absolute chaos. And now for me, I think you keep Dorgu. I think there's a player there that you can absolutely grow into what would be a stunning player. I've said several times he reminds me of Bale, not in the sense I think he's going to be better than Bale, but I think that his projection of starting in a left-back role, not being that sort of player, being pushed further up the field where he becomes the player he should be, is the role he is taking. I think in the first few games, whereas Dalot we can say was okay and good and blah, 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 we should be... No, with Dorgu, it is different. Dorgu is still just 21 years old. He has a long, long, long road ahead of him in Manchester United. And I think under the right manager, with the right guidance, in the right team, this lad will be stunning. So I'm going keep. Wahaha's gone unsure with Dorgu. I can see why. Carl says unsure as it depends where the manager next season would play him. Steve-O says keep. Young man gaining confidence and it shows squad player. Jamie says unsure defensively, but attack keep. Wahaha says, even as a winger, he has to defend, and he costs us every single time to unsure. Subra is saying, still a kid, so keep him. Anthony says, in the right position, Dorgu can really be really good. In the wrong position, he is awful. And Max says, keep. Perfect. We've gone keep. The next player. I mean, look, there has been those reports coming out. Is he going to go? Has he had enough? Are we going to cash in? I'm going to tell you something right now. Yes, we have seen new managers come in and we've seen them try and build teams around Bruno. But what was different this time was even in that absolutely abysmal formation under a manager who didn't know how to play in the Premier League, I think this guy was absolutely phenomenal. The stats don't lie. He is top of the league for stats in so many things this season. And I think if we are looking at building a midfield behind him that can allow him to do what he does best, I think you keep him. I think it's an easy keep. I think you put it in the bracket as, can I move it over here? So I'm going to put him at the top. Out of all, you can't. Hang on a minute. There we can. I'm putting him at the top. I literally am. Let's move Cunha next to the lit. There we go. I'm putting him as the top player that you keep. Bruno Fernandes we are still, where are we? 12 games left. This guy can have a fantastic season for Manchester United. He was voted in team, apparently, again, some aggregates. He has been put in team of the season for Europe so far. The guy's incredible. And he is a player that I think if we let go, we would be in a lot of trouble. Bruno, keep. Is there a better alternative out there? Absolutely not. Wahaha, I agree. Steve-O says keep Bruno as a 10. Keep for the Champions League season, says Jamie. Max says keep. Anthony says, Bruno, now back in the right place. He ain't going anywhere. And absolutely. Casemiro, unfortunately, we know he's a sell. He's going. He's leaving the club. It would be silly for us to even go through that. It would be silly of us to even make a case. I think it's the right decision he leaves at the end of the season. He didn't want to take a pay cut. He goes with our blessings. He goes with our thanks. If we can get Champions League this season, we salute him and we thank him for everything that he's done. Carl says, controversial opinion. Hang on a minute. I'm going to cut. Oh, no. Controversial opinion. I'd say unsure as not sure he is fully committed to the club if he can say he will leave if Carrick is not manager. He ain't going anywhere, is he, though, Carl? I think that's just Bruno throwing his whole weight behind Carrick. I think he's enjoying playing his football again now. I don't see Bruno being a player that if Carrick didn't get the job, he'd say off we go, unless we signed an Oliver Glasner. I think if we signed Glasner, he'd say, I ain't doing this. I'm going. And Subra says, thanks, Uncle Cass, for everything. Absolutely. Next one on the list, Ahmad. Now, here's the thing with Ahmad. And there is a thing with Ahmad. Ahmad hasn't had the season that I think we'd all hoped for. And there are a lot of variations for that. He's been played wide right, not his position. He's been played in a 10, not in his position. In the last few weeks, though, playing on that right-hand side, I think we're seeing a different side of Ahmad. I think we're seeing a player that's starting to enjoy his football. Now, again, I wouldn't say he's one of our top players at the moment. There are still inconsistencies. But I think with Ahmad at the moment, I'm going with keep. I think he will become a better player. The ceiling is extremely high for this lad. It would make no sense for Manchester United to sell him. It would make none at all. Wahaha says sell. I feel he's not good enough for what we're aiming at. For what we're aiming at, we want to be Premier League champions. That's the dream. That's every club's dream. And for me, I see what you're saying there, Wahaha. But for now, especially, I think he is absolutely a player that we keep and we help nurture into a player that we believe he can be. Subra says Ahmad is a keep for sure. Just pass the ball. Keep, but is inconsistent, says Jamie. Max says keep. And Steve-O says Ahmad keep. Did his apprenticeship at Sunderland. Keep, possible substitute. Absolutely. The next one. We haven't seen anything of this kid. Diego Leon hasn't really had an opportunity. We've not seen him in match days, and we can put this down to the fact we haven't been in Europe. There's been no opportunity when we're in a European campaign, if there's a team coming up that isn't great, that we can utilize him to get him experience. We had obviously Grimsby in the League Cup where we got absolutely battered on penalties. It was ridiculous. We got battled on the pitch as well. But for that, I'm not going to say unsure. I do think keep, but I think we loan this lad out. I think we loan this lad out next season and get him the experience that he needs in the English game. Now, he is playing a lot at the moment of youth football for Manchester United, and that's fantastic. But I'm an old football fan. I am. And I don't think you learn anything reserves. I think going out there and plying your trade and getting your minutes, I think is where you become a better player. Harry Amas has gone out this season and has done fantastic. And I think for that reason, I would be absolutely loaning Diego Leon out next season. Get him the minutes. Jamie says loan. Max says got to keep. Carl says keep. Anthony says we haven't seen him, so keep. And Wahaha says, Leon, I'll say unsure. I haven't seen him play. And I get that. I understand that. We haven't seen him play. But I think with these younger players, get them out. Get them minutes. Get them in the championship. Get them playing consistently week in, week out. It worked well for Ahmad. It's working for Amas. We should absolutely be doing the same with Leon. Next one, Kobe Mainu. Now, do you know something? Kobe Mainu, 3 or 4 months, I'd say a month ago, 2 months ago, I just wonder what way this conversation would have gone. I think a lot of us would have put him in sell to save him because he was being wasted under Amorim. Amorim did not like him. And I think we would, in an emotional side, said, let's sell Mainu. I think we'd have done that. I don't think we'd have said unsure. Loan would have been pointless because why would we let a player like that go out and play so well for another club? However, now that Manchester United have done the right thing, now they have got rid of Amorim, now he is playing under a manager who trusts him. Kobe Mainu is here for me. You keep Kobe Mainu, and you not only keep him, you start building a midfield with him for the long term. It's not about building around him. You don't build a midfield around a Kobe Mainu at 20 years old, but you build a midfield for the long term. Kobe Mainu has been spoken about by so many ex-managers, so many players, and they've all said the same thing. They see him eventually moving on further up the pitch. Potentially, you look at that as long-term for Bruno. He's never going to have the same numbers of Bruno. We know that. But he's a different player to Bruno. But at the moment, I think when you look at Kobe Mainu, you say the same. You've got to keep him, and you've got to look at him as the future of this Manchester United club, not just for the next 5 years, not the next 10 years, but the next 15 years. This guy should be a one-man club. He should start his career at Manchester United. He should finish it at Manchester United. Carl says, keep. Subra, by the way, says we need to groom Leon. Keep him and Shaw as second choice. Not sure he will get groomed if he's loaned. That's fair enough. I see what you're saying. I just think go out there and play with blokes and get the shit kicked out of you and learn your trade. That's what the youth players used to do. David Beckham going out on loan to Preston. Got kicked all up and down the pitch. Learned a lot. Sell then keep, says Max. I think you're agreeing with me there. Carl says keep. Wahaha says Mainu, easy keep. Jamie says keep Kobe, build team around him. Steve says his attitude does worry me for the future, but I have to say keep. With that, Steve, I don't ever think it was a Kobe Mainu issue. I think it was. I think for me it was a family so pissed off with the way that their brother, that their son, whatever, was being treated, and they stuck up and they said something, which, again, it wasn't what I wanted to see, but I can see why it happened. And the proof's in the pudding because he's come back into this team and he looks so much better than what we've been used to. What else have we got? Giles says you need another tier already gone or free transfer. Just put it in the cell. Put it in the cell for now, mate. I'll take it on board for the next video, though, Giles, because we will do some more of these. Would what? Groom him? I don't know what you're on about there, Wahaha. I'm going to move on. Next one, Chida Obi. There's been a lot spoken about with Chida Obi this week. A lot of praise coming from Darren Fletcher, coming from the youth staff, all saying that he is on the trajectory to be a big player for Manchester United. Now, here's the question with Chida Obi. Next season, we'll talk about Xerxes in a bit. I'm erring under the loan and the keep with him. I am erring under loan and keep because I kind of feel like a young striker like him needs to be playing more games, which is why I'm leaning towards loan. However, with us playing more games next season, it would be great to see him coming off the bench and getting minutes. It's tough. It's so tough. I really want to put keep, you know. I really want to keep with Chidobe, but I think I'm going to go with my head and I'm going to put him in the loan section. Do you remember years ago, United used to have all these affiliates and they used to send them all out on loan? Why can't Manchester United? If I'm United, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm looking at the Championship, right? At the start of the season, I'm going, right, who's come up from League One? Brilliant. Unless it's Wrexham, who have got millions. I'm saying to the team that's coming up, look, we're willing to send you a few of our players on loan. We're willing to send them, get them the experience playing in your side. That is what I would be doing. Chidobe, I would love him to go out on loan somewhere and get himself 10 goals in a season. I think it'd be great for his development. I think it'd be great. Carl says loan. Max says keep. Jamie says loan him. Giles says Obi has been fantastic. He's going to make it. I agree with that, by the way. I agree with that. People think he's the forgotten man. He's not the forgotten man. Chidobe is just doing what any good team should be doing with their youth players, developing. Imagine if we'd have thrown him in at the start of this season with the hell it was. I think it would really affect him. Steve-O says loan. Wahaha says Chido unsure again. We haven't seen him for ages. And Giles says he needs a loan. There we go. I think we're mostly in agreement there. Rasmus is going to be sell. There's no conversation to be had with Rasmus. I don't even know why he's not grayed out. A few of them are. Rasmus, for me, it's done. We need to make as much money as we can from this guy and move on from that nightmare of a career he's had at Manchester United. The next one is Tom Heaton. Tom Heaton. Here's what I'm going to say about Tom Heaton. I'm keeping Tom Heaton. I'm keeping him. And let me land on this. Let me land. The reason I'm keeping Tom Heaton is because I think next season we're going to see a couple of keepers leave. I want an experienced head in that squad, not in the team. Tom Heaton knows his role in this team. He knows that he is there kind of like a Scott Carson, in and around the club, there to keep everybody on their toes, but also to train with the youth as well. For me, I think Tom Heaton is someone you absolutely keep in that squad. I think it's a no-brainer. I genuinely do. I tell you what I am going to do. Let me just do this a second, because this makes a lot of sense for the reasoning I'm saying this. If I go on to this, let me just 2 seconds. Right. Let me just screenshot this guy and let me upload him. Where do we do that? Choose files. Let me just get to the desktop. There he is. Right. We'll come back to him in a minute because he's got a massive part to play in this. So, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to keep him. I think it's a no-brainer. Max says keep. I'll bring this one up. Rasmus can fuck off. Heaton reserve a plot for him. Love that. Carl says sell. Jamie says unsure. No one's going to buy him. Remember, with sell, it can be released as well. I should have said that at the start of the video. You're missing someone, Anana. What's his name? Anana, who almost got his loan terminated last weekend. Jarl, we've not forgotten about him in that sense. But for me, he does not exist in this club. Heaton can stay. He knows the club so well and keep Tom as a mentor, no problem at all. I think we're all on the same page. How nice is that? We're all on the same page. Now then, the next one. Mazza. Here's where I land with Mazza. Okay? I'm unsure. I am unsure on Mazza. And let me finish before you all come for me. I can hear your thumbs already tapping on that screen saying, Dan, what the fuck are you talking about? Here is what I think with Mazza. I don't think it's a case of us wanting to keep him. I want to keep him. My theory with this is I think Mazraoui wants to play regular football. And at the moment, I don't see him getting regular football at Manchester United. He's been a player that's come in, been a utility player, comes in, gets injured, out the team, comes back in, gets injured, out the team. For me, with Mazraoui, I'm unsure he wants to be here at the end of the season. There were murmurs in January that Juventus wanted him and that he wanted to go. So from my part, I want to keep Mazraoui. I think Mazza's quality. I love him. But from my head part, I actually think he will want to leave. So that is why I put him in the unsure. Jarl, I absolutely agree. And you know what I'm like on this channel. I will always listen to you. And if we've missed something, then we will get it on there. And we are going to get him on there now. regardless of the fact that we know this guy is getting bombed out of this bloody squad. Let's chuck him in there. It's in black and white. It's like a bloody remembrance page, isn't it? So with Mazraoui, I'm unsure. Carl says he's unsure. Anthony says keep him. He can play anywhere. Wahaha says unsure. He has to show some quality rest of the season if he doesn't sell. Mazu is an okay player in a few positions, says Steve-O. Jamie says sell him and cash in towards someone else. Keep a second choice, but unsure. And Max says keep. I'm sticking with unsure there. And if you're watching this on playback and you think I'm wrong, chuck the comments in there. You know I'm always happy to run through this with you. Next up, Aiden Heaven. Aiden Heaven for me is a keep, and Aiden Heaven for me is someone that I think is benefiting from the nurturing he is getting from the Jonathan Woodgates of the world, from the Johnny Evans of the world, and from the Harry Maguires of the world. I think Aiden Heaven for me is someone that you build your future plans around. He has come in this season, and I think he's done fantastic considering his age. I think he struggled when he got asked to play in a back four. I think he was so used to playing in the back three that he struggled making that transition back into the back four. But absolutely for me, Aiden Heaven reminds me so much of Rio when he was younger. He reminds me so much of Rio, the confidence on the ball to do a turn, to pass the ball out from the back. As he grows into his body more and fills out a bit more, he is going to be a unit in the air. So for me, Aiden Heaven, absolutely, you keep him and you make sure you protect him. Keep says Carl. Max says keep. Jamie says loan him. Wahaha says keep. Steve says keep dead easy. Subra says Heaven is a keep. One for the future. I love that. Keep. And Giles says we got Heaven for 1 million. Can that be the best spend money has done forever? I'm not sure, but in recent years, if this guy goes on to do what I hope, if he goes on and achieves half of what I think he can do, it will go down as one of the best bargains United have done. Absolutely. Tyler Fredrickson. Now, Tyler Fredrickson hasn't had much luck playing for Manchester United. I think if Aiden Heaven wasn't about, we'd have seen a lot more of Tyler Fredrickson. For me, I'm going to say straight away that you send this young lad out on loan. You send him out, and I think for me with him, Tyler Fredrickson is between an unsure and loan. I think you send him out on loan and you see if he can become a decent player. He's a centre-back. He still looks so small in his frame for me. I think you send him out on loan and you see if he gets on doing what he's doing when he's out getting the minutes. If he doesn't look like he's going to be the player that's going to be progressing, then absolutely he goes into the unsure and then potentially the sell. But I don't think he's had much opportunities at Manchester United, and that is mainly due to the fact there are so many centre-backs in front of him. So many centre-backs. It's hard enough when you've got no other football other than Premier League to contend with, to try and get minutes in anything with that, unless it's like we've seen where he's come on where we're absolutely trying to just plug the defence and stop them from scoring at the end. He ain't getting minutes. So get the guy out on loan. Carl says loan. Giles says he does need a loan. Jamie says loan. Wahaha says loan. Max says loan. And Steve-O says loan. So we're all agreeing on that one. Benjamin Sesko. Sesko in nowhere is what I'm saying with this guy. I think Sesko is going to blossom. I don't even need to talk too much about Sesko. The finishing that we've seen from him, he's got 4 in his last 5 games, I believe. This guy who at the start of the season, so many commentators said, nah, he's rubbish. Nah, he's not, he just hasn't been able to adapt. Like this guy is still a kid. He's he's 21, 22. This guy has got his whole career ahead of him, and I think he's already starting to get used to the Premier League. At the moment, with the style of play that we're playing, he hasn't had the minutes he'd want. And arguably, you'd say that Michael Carrick's first mistake as Manchester United interim manager was not starting him from the start against West Ham, because he comes on in the second half, creates havoc, gets himself a goal. This guy will absolutely be pushing for a start against Everton. And dare I say, with Tarkowski in behind him, I think it's the right move to do. He will absolutely grow into a fantastic striker for Manchester United. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. Carl says keep. Giles says Fredrickson does have a little leacher in him with his passing range. That's why we get him out on loan and get the minutes. Wahaha says keep easy. Sesko keep, says Subra. Max says sell. Wow. Wow. Maxi, baby, I need something more from you here. I need something more from you with that. That's wow. I wasn't expecting to see someone say sell. That shocked me. Sesko's a keep for me. Absolute keep. Steve-O says keep. Jamie says keep when used to the Prem, he will be so good. He will. And this guy, as I say, wants adapting. Newcastle fans were coming at me saying that Voltemada was better. Voltemada's older. Sesko, I think, is getting there. I think he's understanding how the game works in the Premier League. There are going to be players tighter to you than in Germany. You are going to have less time on the ball. You're going to have to think straight away. There's going to be none of this 2 or 3 touches before you need to get the ball away. And I think he's adapting. Gary Neville's changed his tune on him. There are a lot of pundits now changing their tune on this guy. His finish against West Ham, I thought, was supreme. Supreme. Yeah, he absolutely has, to be fair. Max does come out with him. Next one. It pains me. It pains me to say this, but Mason Mount, I'm selling. I'm selling. And the reason I'm selling Mason Mount is simple. We cannot get a run of games out of him. We cannot get a run of games out of Mason Mount. The heart and desire is there for him. Start of the season in this 3-4-3 when he was playing in that revolving front three, thought he looked so good. My fear with Mason Mount is at his age, do we need a 220 grand a week player warming the bench for Bruno, who is never injured? I think with Mason Mount now, I think it's time to just get rid. There are teams that will buy Mason Mount. And I feel bad saying it because I like the player. I like the fact that he wants to do well. I like the fact that he has passion. When he comes onto the pitch, he is a shithouse. He's constantly baiting people. But for me, I think Mason Mount's time is done at Manchester United at the end of this season. And if you can go out there and get a player, a squad player that can learn his trade behind Bruno, I think you get rid of Mason Mount. I don't think we'll have to worry about people coming in for him. We won't make the money back that we signed him for. But I think we can still get some cash for him. Max says he doesn't think he'll make it. That's fair enough with Sesko. Carl says next 3 are sells for me. Mount is injured too much. What else have we got here? Subra says fit Mount keep 100%. Injury prone, Mount unsure. Not sure we will get a buyer. So let's keep. Or Subra, do we want to keep a player because we can't get a buyer because we've been in that situation before? I think Mason Mount would be easy to sell. I think there are clubs out there. I think you look at someone like a Villa. I think Villa would absolutely go for him. I think Villa would. Look at him. My mouse has been playing up tonight. I don't know what. Well, we'll go on the pad. What else have we got? Chappie says, I think sell. 22 is not young and he's not consistent. Wow. Sesko's got some doubters in this chat tonight. Nothing wrong with that, though. Nothing wrong with that. That's why we're a community. We chat it out. Max says, yep, sell. Steve says, go. Jamie says, sell. His wages are too much for the bench. Wahaha says, Mount, sell. We don't need him, too expensive or he's injured. That's where my concern is with him, I'll be honest with you. The club is also selling him. I think maybe they put a value of 20 million for Mount. Barada is ruthless. He looks like the nice teddy bear, but he has a mean streak. And Mount, very injury prone, get rid of, says Chappie. We're on a roll here, guys. We're on a roll. Next one. Manuel Ugarte. This is the easiest. No, actually, he's not the easiest. I'd say he's the 4th or 5th, maybe 6th easiest sell. I'm putting him at the front. Manuel Ugarte at Manchester United. It is done. We brought this guy in thinking he was going to come in and be the replacement for Casemiro. Casemiro, at 34 years old nearly, is keeping him on the bench. Every time he comes on the pitch, his positional awareness is awful. His passing range is absolutely despicable. I was expecting this Uruguayan Mean Machine. If anyone's seen the film Mean Machine with the monk, Jason Statham, I was expecting this from this guy. What I saw earlier on in this season at Grimsby was a guy who was terrified to go up against these players, these League Two players, and try and battle. There is nothing in there with him. I think this guy's time at Manchester United has been disgraceful. Nothing short of disgraceful. In his time since he's been here, and he's been here nearly 2 seasons, I can count on one hand how many times I've gone, Agate was class today. Agate, the time is done. There are suitors in Turkey that seem to really want this lad. It's done. Get rid of him. Utilize that money to bring in a decent midfielder. The time with him is well and truly over for me. Wahaha, your boy next. And Xerxes for me, there's no unsure for me. He is in the same bracket as Agate. I genuinely can't see a future for Xerxes at this football club. The way we play football does not suit him. He had a decent cameo. He had a decent cameo against West Ham, but I don't think that he is built for the Premier League. It's too quick for him. And that happens with some players. Some players come to the Premier League and it is just too fast. The game flies past him. There are odd moments where Xerxes will bring the ball down and you'll go, how the fuck has he done that? But there are too many moments where he will misuse the ball and he will almost give up running. He just doesn't look a Manchester United player. He is another player that I would, if you ask me next season, who do you want going in as the second striker behind Sesko? I'm saying Chida Obi. I would rather us use Chida Obi over Xerxes as the second striker. I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough. And I like him. He seems a really nice boy as well. I think he's well liked at the club, but well liked does not win you trophies. Well liked does not get you Champions League football. Well liked does not win you Premier League titles. So with that, Xerxes, get yourself off to Italy and go and enjoy yourself. Agate, easy sell. Thanks for the service. Bye. Chappie says, making captain and give him a statue. I mean, sell. Sell, shame. He's a good player. And I think we're talking about Xerxes there. Jamie says, sell, his position doesn't fit United. Steve-O says Xerxes can go. Did okay before the injury, but not good enough. Wahaha says Xerxes unsure. Unsure. If he gets any time and proves serviceable under Carrick, keep. If not, sell him. Set him free. Poor eyed, honestly, poor eyed Wahaha. He's been flogging a dead horse with this guy for a while. Subra says Xerxes sell, but I like him. And Giles says Xerxes is Ineos's first flop. It's a shame, really, but sell. Absolutely. Now then, I've been looking forward to this one. Let me take a sip. Right. H. Harry Maguire. Is my mouse working yet? No, it's bloody not. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. Because I'm getting bored of doing that with the bloody... No, it's all right. Is it not doing that? H. Harry Maguire. Harry ma-fucking-Guire. This guy. Okay? This guy. This guy has had to endure so much at this club, man. This guy has had to endure so much, not from rival fans, from his own fans. There have been games where I've said, this guy, man, we've wasted money on him. He's at the end of his contract this year, right, this season. And how many times do you hear in the Premier League, a club like Manchester United, who, you know, pay the big bucks, yes, we know it, that they are willing to take a pay cut to stay at the club? Harry Maguire's story for me is far from over. Because I think Harry Maguire, for the likes of Yoro, for the likes of Heaven, I think is massive. I think his character around the squad is fantastic. I think he has the respect of the players and of the staff there. I put Harry Maguire there. Harry Maguire has to stay. And I think it will be sooner rather than later that the news will come that he has signed an extension on his deal. We've seen some aggregates, some YouTubers who, again, not going to name them, but they have millions of followers, come out and say we should be going out there and dropping all the money on another centre-back. I asked the question to that chap, where's the money coming from for that? Harry Maguire, at the moment, in the phase that we are with transfers, not an Arsenal phase, when the transfer phases we're in, we keep him for a season or two. He has done so well for Manchester United, and when he plays, I do think we look a better team. I do. I absolutely do. Let's have a look at the comments on this one. Wahaha says, look, he's doing okay, but Amarim, the sabotage maestro, benched him every time he did something good. I think you're talking about Xerxes, fair enough. And Bruno's a priority, of course, for Lawrence. Giles says, Maguire, keep him. He is too important for the team. I hear he's going to have an 80 to 100k contract or something. I've heard it's going to be about 100 to 120, which is absolutely fine with me. Chappie says keep him for sure. Steve-O says keep him at least another season. Jamie says knight him, build stature and give him 2 more years. Carl says sell. I think we need to move on from him now. Can't sell him, mate. He's on the end of his contract. He'd be going on a free. So you think we should get rid? That's interesting, Carl. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at that. Subra says, Harry the legend, I want him to retire here, reduce the wage, and please play for the badge like you always do. Love Maguire. Greatest redemption arc in football history. And Wahaha, I mean, if Wahaha's saying it, it's not very often me and Wahaha agree on things like this. But yeah, keep him on reduced terms. I go back to Casemiro. The difference between Casemiro and Maguire is Casemiro has gone, I can still go out and earn big bucks. I'm going to leave because they're not offering me the same money. Maguire has said, whoa, hang on a minute. Look, I want to be part of this project here. I see myself as part of this project. I've still got something to give. I want to give it back. I think the difference is incredible. Carl says, let him go on the free. Just think we need to freshen things up like we did up front. It's fair enough. That's what we do with this channel for. Right then, next. Is my mouse back to working? Is it? Honestly. Technology. The next one is being there. Now, being there for me, I'm gonna coin the phrase that AFTV was famed for using. He has to go, blood. He has to go, blood. Being there had his moment in the FA Cup third round against Arsenal last season, and ever since that moment, it has just gone. He is an awful goalkeeper. How we were scammed into bringing this keeper in as a number 2. When you think of the keepers we've had as number 2s in our history, Raymond van der Gaal, Romero for me, the best number 2 that in world football. I honestly think he was. Being there, I like the fact that he's friendly with Lemmy, and I like it after the game. He's got his arms around him, but mate, you got to go. Again with him, I think he will go back to Turkey. I don't think we'll have any issues trying to get rid of him. It is time for him to go, and I will come on to why I think it's time for him to go later on in the show. But I think for him, it's done. Off you go. Terra. Everyone's saying, Wahaha says can fuck off. Max says, oh my God, sell. Jamie says, easy sell. Steve-O says, oh my God, be in there, give him his P45. I'd rather have Roy Carroll come out of retirement than be in there, says Wahaha. Sell, says Carl. Subra says, Brienda, sell, pull a kid from the academy or go and get a second choice in the market. And Jamie says, I'd rather keep Zerk than him. I agree with that. Absolutely. Jadon Sancho, thanks, but no thanks. We do have the option to extend his contract. I don't want to see this guy playing in England, let alone for Manchester United. He has been absolutely one of the worst signings Manchester United have ever had the misfortune in having at their club. He goes with my middle finger raised, and I hope I never see him play against my club ever again. Can't stand him. He is everything that is wrong with a modern-day footballer. He thinks he is so much better than you and I. He thinks he's better than the clubs he plays for. He could have gone to Chelsea this season. He could have gone to Chelsea, but fucked it up because he said, nah, mate, you pay me the peas. I think I should be on so much money. Mate, you are a joke of a player. I cannot wait to see you get rid of it. I don't even want to see him on the archive bloody section of Manchester United. We must forget that this guy has ever played for Manchester United. Max says, fuck off. Carl says, sign Dennis Seaman, 20-year-old from Stuttgart as a replacement for being there. Sancho, the less I see, the more I love him, says Wahaha. Chappie says, Turkey must adore rubbish keepers. Agree. Seaman. There's an interesting joke about Seaman, but I'm not going to do it because it's before 9 o'clock. Right then. Easiest one of the night. One of the easiest. Lemmy, my heart is warm because of you. You have come in and changed our lives. And you have not come in and been super Lemmy. You have just come in and done what is expected of a goalkeeper. You've kept the basics basic. You catch crosses that are easy to catch. Your distribution is a lot better. You are calm on the ball. Yes, there is a couple of little niggly mistakes. But as a young goalkeeper, this keeper has quite literally got the world at his feet. And this keeper, under the right tutorship, can go on and be a world-class goalkeeper. Still so young, man. 23 years old. He has got like 8-9 years before he gets to his prime. I want to see us build for our future with this goalkeeper. And how right was it that we didn't go out there and get Martinez? I was fuming at the time. But Lemmy, you have my heart. You are the ace of saves for good reason. Max says keep. Carl says keep. Keep gives so much confidence in the defence, says Jamie. Steve-O says dead easy. Love Lemmy, the rock that keeps the defence confident-ish. Love that. And he will become a world beater, says Chappie. I agree. This one, Shea Lacey. Now, Shea Lacey has the look of a footballer from the 50s. Like his hairstyle, he just looks like a regen from the 50s. I've been very vocal about what we do with youth players. I really have. However, I think Shea Lacey next season, you keep him in and around the first team. He had a little cameo over Christmas. This kid has shown what he's capable of already. If we can keep this lad injury-free, I want him next season when we're playing in Europe, in and around the first team to get more minutes. I think more minutes under his belt, the position that he plays, the explosiveness that he displays, I think he's going to be something special. I honestly, Shea Lacey, I have not been this excited about a player this age since the unfortunate excitement from who turned out to be a monster. This lad can be everything in football. He's got his head screwed on, and he is absolutely another player that ceiling is so fucking high. I get giddy just thinking about him. Shea Lacey, you keep him in and around the first team and you get him minutes. I don't think he needs to go out on loan. I think next season with another 6 months under his belt training with the first team, pre-season, I think this guy will get a lot more minutes than we actually realise next season. Max says keep. Jamie says loan him. Waha says keep. That's where my Salamad comes in. Fair enough. Subra says keep, not loan, just keep and start playing him, please. One for the future. Steve says Lacey does look great as a sub, keep. Carl says keep, but only if we give him minutes in Europe and cups, if not loan. I think we're on the same wavelength there. I think he'll get more minutes in the league next season as well. I think he will definitely get minutes in the cups. I think he'll definitely get minutes in Europe when the game arises, not against a Real Madrid or something like that if we get Champions League. But against the lesser teams in Europe, that is where this boy is going to come on and start to learn his way as a Manchester United player. And I think honestly, I think the future is so high for this lad. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Next up, I think we sell Butcher. We've got to sell Martinez. Absolutely fucking not. Martinez is up here for me in one of the top. Martinez has absolutely, I think, since coming back and staying injury-free, and I hope, and I'm touching all sorts of wood. I'm even touching the naughty wood. Keep him fit. This guy is fantastic as a ball-playing centre-back. I have seen so much progression from him in his game, playing under Carrick. He looks so comfortable bringing that ball out from defence. The guy's got a ping that is beautiful. Breaks up play. He's looking confident. Absolutely fucking love him. The Butcher. And for me, I think he should be captain. I love Bruno. I think he should be captain. I love him. Absolutely love him. Keep Martinez. He can play as centre-back or midfield, says Carl. Max says keep. Subra says Leacher keep. Note, he's not injury prone. He's just had terrible injuries. Won't term him. That's fair enough. Martinez, worse, fake sell, Dan, keep, absolutely. Give him the captain's armband, says Jamie. And Giles says, want to keep Martinez, no doubt, but there are big clubs who will try and wrestle him from United. I don't think they will. I think he loves United. Honestly, I think he's happy to stay here for the rest until he gets to an age where he wants to maybe retire in Argentina. And Steve-O says, easy keep. Fantastic. Now then, Jack Fletcher and Tyler Fletcher. Here's what I'm going to say with these two. I think you literally send, because they're twins, we're going to do both of them together. I think you send the Fletcher twins out on loan. I think you send the Fletcher boys out on loan. They go and enjoy their football, get that experience. I think it's been good that they've come on and got minutes this season. However, if Manchester United are going to revamp that midfield next season, I don't see where they get the minutes that are going to help them to become the players that we hope they can do. It's different with Lacey, with wingers. I think you've got more opportunity, whereas in that midfield, in any football team, regardless of what cup competitions you are in, you need a solid, unified midfield that maybe you tweak slightly for fitness reasons. I feel like the Fletcher boys would be limited to so little minutes that it could hamper their development. And I think we all are in agreement. We want them to go and develop. We want them to go and become the footballers. If they are anything like their dad, Jesus Christ, we've got two fantastic talents there. But get them out on loan. Get them out on loan. Loan, says Jamie. Carl says loan as we're going to bring midfielders in. Max says, yep, on loan. Agree on loan, says Steve-O. Loan maybe sell, says Jamie. And Wahaha says Fletcher's loan didn't look great whatsoever. Yeah. And again, they come in at a really, really bad period, I think. And that's never going to help players at that age. Get them out on loan. Get them in the championship. Get them earning their crust. Get them playing for different clubs as well. Let's see them come up against each other. I know one's English and one plays for Scottish. But I want to see them come up against each other in the championship. That would be a watch along on its own. Next up, there's been a lot of people talking about this guy. Everybody's talking about me. I can't hear a word they say. I've got Rashford on my mind. Rashford should be a Manchester United player. Manchester United have that habit of developing these young players who go on and be one club men and play for this team, play for the badge. However, there has been talk that Barcelona are trying to maybe negotiate that deal, trying to. And you know what? Actually, Subra says right. Subra says it right. Trying to be cheapskates. Rashford's time at Manchester United Football Club is done. Unfortunately, it is done. We put him in sell. Here's the thing with Rashi. Okay, here's the thing with Rashi. In an ideal world, he would come back after this loan from Barca under Carrick and would go on and do what we know he can do. My worry for Rashi is if he comes back and he starts off well, but then becomes inconsistent, I think the fan base, I think social media, they utilize him as the scapegoat. And that isn't fair on Rashi. It isn't. Money-wise, he's on too much money for me for what he brings to the club. I think with him, I think the time is now to say goodbye. And I think he will end up either staying at Barcelona or he'll go to a PSG. I would love him to come back and do something because there is a player in Rashford. I don't think any of us can sit here and say there isn't a player in Rashford. There are things only that lad can do on a football. There really are. Like the things he does with a football, there aren't many players that can do it. But like I've said before about Marcus Rashford, the problem with him is this. To be world class, it isn't just about the talent you have. You have to have the mentality to do it. And Rashford, unfortunately, so many times falls foul of having the mentality to become the legend that we hoped he'd come for Manchester United. Surrounds himself with the wrong people. Doesn't look interested in some games. I would love him to succeed, but I think now, Rashford, it's time for you to go, mate. Thanks for the memories. You've been out on loan in Barca this season. You were the second half of the season with Aston Villa last season. He hasn't played for us for nearly a year and a half. It's time to say goodbye to him. It is absolutely time to say goodbye. Rashford, remember Heaton's plot. He can keep it warm for him, says Wahaha. Chappie says Rashford was unhappy under the last few managers. He's given a big part of his life to the club. It's difficult to say sell or keep. I get that. Subra, we spoke about that one. Lawrence just telling me what a great voice I've got. Thank you very much, mate. Jamie says sell, but only if Barca don't be cheap. Max says sell, never liked him as a player. Steve-O says sell him. It's over for Rashford. Rashford didn't try in a poor United team and wasn't willing to help and stand out. And that's the difference between Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Lisandro Martinez. Those two players, Martinez and Bruno, even when the chips were down and we were shite, tried to give everything for the club. Tried to give everything. Rashford went, I ain't doing this. Nah, I can't do this. Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame. Malacia released the poor lad. Release that poor lad. He should have gone in January, but we kept him due to the injury for Dorgu. Malacia has done nothing wrong to me. I think his attitude's fine. He's kept his head down. He's worked hard. But Malacia, off you go, mate. I think he's out of contract at the end of the season anyway. It's a trial that never worked. It never paid off. We thought he was going to be a decent number 2. It didn't work. He got that injury that kept him out for over a season. At the end of the season, we say thank you. We wave him off and let him go and enjoy some football somewhere. I don't think there's much we need to say about him. A lot of you are saying Sal as well. Toby Collier. I am unsure on Toby Collier. And the reason I'm unsure of him, he's 22 soon. He might be 22 now, actually. I think the time's passed for Toby Collier to be a player that we look at that has the potential to go on and do things for Manchester United. I've never seen enough for him. I've never seen enough from him, for me to say we could do something with this lad. He's been very unfortunate when he went on loan to West Brom, couldn't get in the side, then got injured, then went to Hull on loan, got injured again. I think we say at the end of this, I'm unsure whether we give him another loan and then see what happens. But for me, I don't think he's. In fact, you know something? I am going to go sell. Because I don't see him ever. I don't see him ever getting someone out of that Manchester United midfield. I just don't see it. A lot of you are saying sell as well. Wahaha sell. He says he's not good. Max says sell. Carl says sell. Don't think he will ever be good enough. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Yeah, sell for Toby. Next one, Luke Shaw. Christ almighty, Luke Shaw, man. Chat, talk to me. Talk to me about him. I put him in the same bracket as Mazraoui. I think Luke Shaw's been decent this season. I do. My worry with Luke Shaw is, are we seeing the best we've seen of Luke Shaw for a long time because he's playing one game a week and therefore we're not overloading him with games, meaning he is able to stay fit longer? And do we fall back into the same category next season if we get Champions League football and we have a couple of cup runs that we see this guy get injured again? I made the joke at the start of the season that he wouldn't get injured because it was World Cup year. And it looks like my prediction's right because he's not missed a game, has he? I think he got rested in the cup, in the FA Cup. But other than that, he has been super consistent in that side. Manchester United are at a crossroads with Luke Shaw. Do we bring in someone like a Robinson at left back and then utilise him as a second option? Maybe rotate the both of them? Or do we try and cash in on a Luke Shaw and see what we can get and then go out there and spend money on a decent left back? We already know the midfield is the main priority this season, but the more I think of it and the more after doing this show tonight, it's making me realise that Manchester United need to be focusing on a right back and a left back next season. Absolutely need to be focusing. Can Luke Shaw keep fit? Can we utilise him for 20, 25 games next season? Potentially. Wahaha says keep him on reduced wages, a bit like Maguire. Carl says keep for the same reason you said about Maguire and bring in a younger second choice. I understand that. Luke Shaw, keep as second choice. Not going to lie, he's not been so bad. Jamie says sell him. Steve says sick note Shaw can go. Max says sell. Carl says keep. This is where I'm unsure. I'm going to keep him in the unsure bracket. I'm keeping him in the unsure bracket for now. I'm not going to change my mind on that. Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro divides fans and it shouldn't. Lenny Yoro divides fans and he absolutely shouldn't. Because Lenny Yoro is still a kid. Lenny Yoro has such a big future ahead of him. I think Lenny Yoro is someone that you can develop, absolutely. I mean, Lenny Yoro is, I think he made a good account of himself coming on after the West Ham game. I think his confidence was shot from Amorim. I don't think Amorim did great for Yoro. I don't think he was a manager that was warm to him. Called him out a couple of times. He looked bereft of confidence after that Crystal Palace game. I remember at the end of the game, the lads were getting round him, getting him to the crowd. I think with Yoro, you keep him. I think you keep him and I think you get him developing. Next season, there'll be more games for him to get out there and develop a bit more. There are games, absolutely, when we've seen Lenny Yoro and we've gone, this kid can be fantastic. But there have been other games where we've gone, Jesus Christ, how many mistakes is he going to make? I'm keeping him. I'm backing him. I'm putting my faith in him to come good. He's young enough still to be a fantastic footballer for me. And I think he's played under some awful managers. Steve-O says Yoro should be kept. Max says keep. Carl says, honestly, I give him a loan. Think Amarim damaged his confidence. Wahaha says Yoro, he divides fans because he's hit and miss. Keep, though. Chappie says Yoro, keep potential. Keep him, he needs to play more, says Jamie. And Subra says, Yoro, 100% keep, one for the future. Shout out to him single-handedly saving the game against West Ham. He absolutely did. Yoro is one, I don't think he should divide fans as much as he does. I think we need to remember with him, because we paid a lot of money, we went, oh, this guy should be absolutely thrust into the team and go on strength to strength. Yes, he will go on strength to strength, but you need a manager, I think, that's going to utilize him the right way and have the faith in him and have the knowledge to pull him out of the lineup when things aren't going great. As a young player, it's always hard with confidence. They can be on top of the world in one moment, but a mistake can absolutely destroy him. It's about having the right manager that puts their arm around him, pulls him out of the 11 and says, look, you're still developing. You're going to have games like this. We will keep you. You're going to be fine. We're going to nurture you. So he's keep for me. Now then, when we were talking about the goalkeepers, as you can see, we've only got 2 goalkeepers in the keep and the rest we're getting rid of. The reason is, I think this guy comes in next season. I think Vitek comes in next season as potentially a number 2 to get experience. I think he's had a decent season at Bristol City. Yeah, there's been some games where he's been a bit dicey. He's a young goalkeeper. I think you bring in Vitek next season as number 2. Now, there are arguments. Manchester United, should we be having a goalkeeper number 1 and 2 that are both under the age of 23? It's a risk. But Lemmy has done nothing to tell me that this guy is calm enough to keep going and to keep developing. And I think Vitek is a goalkeeper that will absolutely benefit next season from coming into cup games and getting his minutes. Playing in the Championship for him has been absolutely vital in his development. I think that for me next season, you absolutely utilise this young lad with the experience he's got to be your number 2. I think you look at Lemmy and you look at Vitek and you're looking at 2 goalkeepers. If they carry on the trajectory we've got here, we could have a decent number 1 and number 2 that can battle for years to come for that number 1 spot. Manchester United have just got over the worst few years of goalkeepers. We said goodbye to David De Gea. I was one of them. I wanted him out of the club. Realised straight away we fucked up majorly. We fucked up majorly. Then we had to withstand Onana and be in there. Let's have a bit of calmness here. And let's also utilise the fact that we back our youth. We absolutely back our youth and we believe in them. I think get a good season under his belt this season like he is. Bring him back as number 2. Vitek bring back, says Wahaha. Max says, yeah, keep. Jamie says keep. Steve-O says keep. Carl says keep. He's done well enough on loan. Seen him make some great saves. Lawrence says I keep everyone but Xerxes for the European squad. Just want to free our sideshow Bob for Italy. Jamie says will be good in the cups for us. Subra says number 1, Le Mans. Number 2, Vitek. Number 3, Tom Heaton. I'm okay with him. Keep. I love it when we're on the same page. Love it. And then the last one. Onana. Do we just put him in keep for the lols? Do we just put him in keep for the lols? Chat. I've had the misfortune of seeing some awful goalkeepers in my time at Manchester United. I've seen some awful goalkeepers. I've seen some drop some absolute howlers. Onana for me goes down as the worst goalkeeper Manchester United have ever had. I put him worse than Taibbi. Put him worse than Bosnich. Roy Carroll was a decent keeper. There is no world where this lad stays at Manchester United. I mean, again, it's a funny one because he's a big character around the training ground. Can be as big a character as you fucking want. If you can't do your job, the most basic things that Lemmy has shown you up so many times this season, you have to go. And I mean, it's going terrible in Turkey for him now. I remember he had his debut and everyone was like, Onana, prime Onana's back. Oh, United have dropped a clanger. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Us United fans sat there, watched that game and went, yeah, that's sound. Give him a couple of games. And it come back, didn't it? He is fucking woeful. Awful goalkeeper. Awful goalkeeper. I'm so glad he's gone. I'm so glad. And at the end of the season, the fucking bizarre thing is we will find a club that will buy him. He'll probably go to Saudi or something like that, but we will find a club that will buy him. He made a comment not so long ago that said, I'm looking forward to coming back next season and helping United win the league. You're only doing that as a bloody agent, mate, because you ain't playing football for us. Absolutely not playing football for us. Everyone's in the same here, to be fair. Sell. If we don't sell Onana, I'm switching to support FC United, says Carl. Oh, no, not him. Oh, my God. Sell, please, please sell. Onana. yeah, I see that. Wahaha. Onana, he can fuck off, as our mate Wahaha says. He's that bad, he should just retire, says Carl. And revision, Onana can only say if he dyes his hair yellow and cosplays as Simon. Look, I think we're all in agreement. Whoever recommended him, sell him or sack as well, we did. His name was Ten Hag. Fucking hell, what a woeful goalkeeper he has turned out to be. Awful, but there we go, chat. Let me just get myself out of the screen here. That is our keep, unsure, loan and sell. At the moment, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're looking at a squad of 16 if we had our way with the 2, maybe 18 with the 2 unsure of going into the season next season. We're loaning out Leon, Chida Obi, Fredrickson, Fletcher and Fletcher. And we are selling. I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are no longer at our club. They're out on loan. 5 of them are out on loan. 1 of them we know is going at the end of the season on a free anyway. But we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there that we can absolutely sell. 7. That's a big amount of players to try and sell, chap. I love that comment. Wow, I'm assuming we're talking about South Park there. Fucking love that, I love that episode. I said, hey, Loch Ness Monster, what the hell do you want? He said, I need about 350. Fucking love that. I fucking love that. Chat, we have got big questions that are going to be asked in the summer. We have spent an hour going through that squad. Guys, if you're watching this on playback, I want your comments in there. I want you to tell me what you'd change. I want you to tell me what you would change. Carl says he'd actually keep Leon at the club. That's fair. That's fair. There are big, big decisions coming for Manchester United in the summer. If it was up to us, they'd be easy decisions. There's only 2 that we were really unsure of. The rest of them, I think we're sold. I think we're set in our ways. It's about time. It's about that time I noticed a Girl Scout was 8 stories tall. Fucking love that. Get your comments in, chat. I'm going over to the football's 12th man now. I don't know why they want me over there. United haven't played for a year, but they want me over there to give my opinion, which is what I will do. If you've got nothing to do, pop over there and come and join the conversation. But guys, and what about Carrick? Keep Bring or someone else? I think we're all in agreement. I think we all want to keep him, don't we? I think we're all in agreement. There's going to be a conversation. We'll do a tier list about the manager because there's a few things I want to do with that. But guys, as always, thank you for your continued support. And like I said at the start of the video, if you haven't already gone and watched it, this is available to watch now. Go and have a look at my thoughts on that. I think you'll be interested about what I say. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, guys. It's Monday, Tuesday tomorrow. We're already storming through the week. Enjoy yourselves. Massive respect and love to you for sticking with. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button. But as always, Brian Brigade, Dan United, we are Uta!